I call this meeting to order. Welcome to meeting number 128 of the House of Commons Standing Committee on Public Safety and National Security. Today's meeting is taking place in a hybrid format. I would like to remind participants of the following points. Please wait until I recognize you by name before speaking. All comments should be addressed through the chair. Members, please raise your hand if you wish to speak, whether participating in person or via Zoom. The clerk and I will manage the speaking order as best we can. Pursuant to Standing Order 108 Sub 2 and the motion adopted on September 19, 2024, the committee resumes its study of Russian interference and disinformation campaigns in Canada. I would now like to welcome our witness today, Ms. Lauren Chen. Welcome. I inform the committee members that the witness is accompanied today by her legal counsel, Mr. David Anber, currently online via Zoom. The House of Commons Procedure and Practice says, witnesses appearing before a committee may be assisted by counsel, but they must see committee's permission. When permitted by committee members counsel when permitted by committee members is restricted to an advisory role and may neither ask questions nor reply on the witness's behalf. Therefore, I would like to request the committee's permission for legal counsel to attend the meeting without the opportunity to intervene or speak on the witness's behalf. Is the committee in agreement? Yes. Also, I'd like to specify that the testimony of our witness is protected by parliamentary privilege. The House of Commons Procedure and Practice states the following. Witnesses appearing before the committee enjoy the same freedom of speech and protection from arrest and molestation as do members of Parliament. I now invite Ms. Chen to make an opening statement of up to 5 minutes. Please go ahead, Ms. Chen.
Seeing as how my lawyer is not going to be able to speak, we do request that this opening statement, which we have also submitted in writing, be filed as an exhibit to speak for itself.
Is the committee in agreement with this? Yes? Okay. Very well. Go ahead. Did you wish to make...
members of this...
Go ahead. Sorry.
No problem. I'll read it here. Honorable members of this committee and clerk of the committee, LaRose, I am here today as required by the summons delivered to me. My understanding is you wish to ask me questions about a subject you are studying with a view of making recommendations as part of your legislative role. My understanding is that the subject you are studying is, quote, Russian interference and disinformation campaigns in Canada, end quote. In principle, I have no issue testifying before your committee. However, as you know, Canada and the United States are democratic countries that value civil rights. One right, which is particularly important, is the presumption of innocence and its companion right to remain silent. Both Canada and the United States strongly value the right to be free from self-incrimination. Presently, I am a target of a criminal investigation in the case of the United States v. Kalashnikov, 24 CR 519, Southern District, New York, 2024. As such, I am entitled to certain protections given to me under the Fifth Amendment of the United States Constitution, which provides that I cannot be forced to potentially incriminate myself while testifying under oath. After consulting with counsel, both in Canada and the United States, I have concluded on their advice that answering questions from this committee could reasonably provide a, quote, link in the chain toward a possible indictment against me with respect to the above-mentioned or related proceedings. I recognize that the difficulty is that the Fifth Amendment of the United States Constitution does not apply in Canada. I am aware that I have no right to plead the Fifth before this committee. I've been advised, and I do believe, the one policy reason behind Canada's lack of protection, similar to the American Fifth Amendment, is that Canada has a different form of protection located within Section 13 of the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedoms, which provides that if I testify in proceedings, I have the right not to have any incriminating evidence so given to be used to incriminate me in other proceedings, subject to exceptions that would not apply here. This is how the American protection against self-incrimination is not formally recognized in Canada. However, Section 13 of the Charter is not formally recognized in the United States, and so it would not be of assistance to me should I accede to answering any questions. Accordingly, it is with the above considerations in mind that I must indicate that I will not answer any questions posed to me once I appear before this committee. I note in taking this position that Section 7 of the Charter of Rights and Freedoms protects me in situations where Section 13 does not apply, where life, liberty, or security interests are at stake. Considering the investigation taking place in respect of Kalashnikov, I verily believe that my refusal to answer questions is lawful and protected under Section 7 of the Charter. I also assert respectfully that in the relatively unique circumstances in which I find myself, Section 2D of the Canadian Bill of Rights, SC 1960 C44, as well as the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights, to which Canada is a signatory, protect my refusal to testify. Please note that my refusal is contingent solely on my legitimate concerns about possible self-incrimination. Once the investigation has been completed and it is determined that there may be no future proceedings taken against me in respect of that or related matters, I wish that this honorable committee be aware that I would be willing to reattend before it and answer all questions on such issues.
Thank you. We'll start our first round with Ms. Dancho. 6 minutes, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you, Ms. Chen, for being here with us today. Although I'll note that you did not necessarily come willingly, you were summoned. And I appreciate your opening testimony, but you've outlined to this committee that you've come here and you won't be answering any of our questions. It's quite frustrating for us as committee members to have a witness here for 2 hours who refuses to answer any questions. And of course, you've been called here, as you outlined, in line with the Russian disinformation study that we're currently engaging, and notably because of your involvement in the indictment from the Department of Justice in the United States. And so I've gone through this indictment at length, and I'm deeply concerned about any involvement you and your company, Tenet Media, have had. And I have a number of questions for you. So I hope that you may answer some of them and really service the Canadian institutions that you're here for. And I would just remind you that this is a committee of Parliament. We are members of Parliament at this table. You've been rightfully summoned, and it is your obligation, under my belief and the belief of our committee, that you should be answering these questions. That is the duty that you have to the Canadian institutions that you are here today. That we all work hard. We serve this committee. This is the Public Safety and National Security Committee of Canada. So I'd urge you to reconsider answering our questions. This is a very serious matter that you have engaged in, or allegedly through this indictment. And again, I'd ask that you respectfully engage in a dialogue with us today and answer our questions. So there are a number of issues in here that I'd like to go over with you. But of course, first and foremost, I'd like to ask you, were you directly receiving payments from Russia today to proliferate the propaganda from the Russian government to your North American audience?
For the reasons outlined in my opening statement, I have no comment.
Ms. Chen, again, I'd ask you to reconsider. The allegations in this indictment are very serious, and your reach is quite far. And so I'd ask that you reconsider. Again, I'll ask you perhaps another issue. Are you aware that Canada imposed special economic measures against Russia today in 2022?
For the reasons already given, I will not be answering this question.
Are you aware in 2023 that further sanctions were imposed on Russia's today's parent company, for example? And are you aware that the Russian state-owned media company, the parent company, and the head of the International Department of Russia today is also sanctioned by the Canadian government?
For the reasons already given, I have no comment.
All right. Ms. Chen, did you ever receive payment prior to the war in Ukraine from Russia today for services rendered?
For the reasons already given, I have no comment.
In the indictment, it outlines that you wrote 25 opinion articles for Russia Today. Can you confirm that?
For the reasons already given, I have no comment.
This indictment, Ms. Chen, is quite serious in that it purports, or it alleges that you falsely or you misled commentators to your company, Tenet Media, that were being paid by Russian agents, in essence. Can you comment on that?
For the reasons already given, I have no comment.
You can understand that the Public Safety and National Security Committee of Canada is incredibly concerned that if there's a Canadian citizen such as yourself receiving, well, according to the indictment, $10 million, and falsely misleading commentators of your platform or where that money is coming from, and the purpose of that commentary is to propagate Russian government positions that deliberately undermine the West. Do you have any concerns of that, of the moral authority of that?
For the reasons already given, I have no comment.
Mr. Chair, this is obviously quite frustrating. Ms. Chen has been called for this committee, and the allegations are incredibly serious that she took $10 million for her company from Russian agents, withheld the source of that funding to the commentators that she hired for Tenant Media with the purpose to proliferate Russian propaganda, which, as we know very well on this committee, Russia is an adversary to Canada looking to deliberately undermine this country, looking to see Canada weaken and fail. And the idea that a fellow Canadian, Ms. Chen, would take large amounts of money to undermine the Canadian interests, I take great personal and moral issue with that. Do you?
For the reasons already given, I have no comment.
Ms. Chen, do you have anything else that you'd wish to say to this committee about these allegations?
As previously mentioned, for the reasons outlined in my opening statement, I have no comment.
Ms. Chen, I'll just underline again that this is a committee of Parliament of Canada. These institutions are incredibly old, ancient, and protect our democracy. You've been summoned here today to answer questions to an incredibly important issue area, to say the least. In fact, this committee has identified for a number of months and years that Russian misinformation and disinformation presents an incredible threat to the West, that the purpose of that propaganda is to sow division in this country, to undermine our own interests, to say nothing for the Ukrainian individuals who have fled the war in Ukraine to come to Canada for safety. There are thousands of them in Manitoba. To say nothing of the impact that spreading Russian propaganda in Canada and withholding that that is in fact Russian propaganda has on those individuals in Canada at large. Do you have any comment of the impact of information that Tenant Media shared on Ukrainian Canadians and Ukrainians that have fled Ukraine to come to Canada? Any thoughts on how your efforts or alleged efforts have impacted those individuals?
For the reasons already given, I have no comment.
Mr. Chair, I think I'm out of time, but again, I'd just like to register that Ms. Chen, unfortunately, I feel is making a farce of this committee, and it's deeply, deeply disappointing.
Thank you, Ms. Dancho. We'll go now to Ms. Demoff for 6 minutes, please.
Thank you, Chair. And I want to echo Ms. Dancho's frustration at the lack of response to the questions thus far in the committee. There are lots of issues that parties in this House of Commons disagree on. On this one, as parliamentarians, as representatives of this country, I'm deeply, deeply disturbed that a witness would come before this committee, having been summoned, which is something that's quite rare to have to do in order to get a witness to appear, and then refuses to answer questions. Questions that are extremely important to Canadians. We are the Public Safety and National Security Committee, and Canadians are, as you know, we're studying Russian disinformation, and I will tell you that when we had Facebook here and we found out that your posts continue to live on social media platforms like Rumble, and then as a result on Facebook, so that disinformation funded by the Russian government continues to infiltrate Canadians is extremely, extremely disturbing, and it's frustrating for you to be sitting here today in front of us and not answering our questions. So I'm going to try myself. Have you been contacted by Canadian or American law enforcement about your role in the Russian-run Tenant Media operations, given the U.S. indictment?
As I explained in my opening statement, I have no comment.
Did you portray Edward Gregorian, a fictional Brussels-born businessman, as the private investor behind the funding that would allow Commentator 1 and Commentator 2 that's listed in the indictment to produce videos using their own names and leveraging their existing audiences for license and publication by your company?
As I explained in my opening statement, I have no comment.
I'm echoing Ms. Dancho's frustration at this lack of recognition of Parliament and parliamentarians sitting around this table representing Canadians from coast to coast to coast. After Russia invaded Ukraine in February 2022, RT was sanctioned, dropped by distributors, and ultimately forced to cease formal operations in the United States, Canada, the UK, and the EU. In response, RT created, in the words of its editor-in-chief, quote, an entire empire of covert projects, end quote, designed to shape public opinion in Western audiences. Why did you choose to be part of one of these covert projects?
For the reasons already given, I have no comment.
Are you aware that your talking points parrot the Russian government's disinformation campaigns?
For the reasons already given, I have no comment.
I'll just emphasize that these are talking points that are meant to undermine Western democracies.
For the reasons already given, I have no comment.
I'm going to share my time with Ms. O'Connell. I'll pass it over to you, Ms. O'Connell.
Mr. Chair, given the lack of response, I move that the committee ask the witness be compelled to respond to our questions.
Thank you. Is it the will of the committee to agree that the question that the witness must answer the questions?
Mr. Chair, I just have a question here. I'm unfamiliar with this. Perhaps the clerk or others can just outline this in a bit further detail. What powers do we have to do that?
My understanding is in order for this matter to be reported to the House and the witness brought before the bar of the chamber, the committee must demand a response, an answer to the questions. If she then fails, then we have an option to take it back to the House for further action. If you like, we could suspend for a couple of minutes and have a conversation. No? Okay.
I just want to be clear that that is what the avenue we're pursuing. Okay.
Yes.
Understood.
Okay. So is it the will of the committee that the witness be compelled to answer the question? The questions. Yes?
Literally anything?
All the questions. Okay. And I see agreement with the committee, and it is so found. We will continue with Ms. O'Connell. You have 1 minute left.
I'll give my time back to Ms. Danmoff.
Thank you, Chair. And Ms. Chen, I just want to ask you, what advice did you provide to the Russians about what content would most likely be successful in deepening divisions and inflaming tension in both America and Canadian society?
As I explained in my opening statement, at this time, I have no comment. However, following the closure of the American investigation into this issue, I would be willing to come back to testify before this committee.
So you're still refusing to answer our questions, however?
As mentioned in my opening statement, at this time, I have no comment.
How much time have I got left, Chair?
You're over, but we also took time out for the vote, so you could go another 30 seconds, I think.
Ms. Chen, do you have concerns that content that you created that has been funded by Russia through RT continues to be available to Canadians on social media?
For the reasons already given, I have no comment.
This is incredibly frustrating, Chair, especially given the motion that we just passed. It's not often we get unanimity around this table, and we certainly do right now. So I'll send it back to you.
Thank you, Mr. Moff. On y va maintenant, Madame Michaud.
We'll proceed with Ms. Michaud. The floor is yours. 6 minutes, please. Well, thank you very much, Mr. Chairperson. And indeed, it is quite concerning to see the state of affairs in which we find ourselves today. And as far as I'm concerned, this is the first time I've found myself in this situation where a witness agrees to appear before a committee of the House of Commons but refuses to answer parliamentarians' questions. Even though we sent invitations on several occasions and we just adopted a unanimous motion compelling the witness to respond. Now, I saw what transpired over the previous minutes with my colleagues who asked very pertinent and good questions. This is an extremely serious issue of great import. we decided to study the issue of Russian disinformation propagated in Canada, and Ms. Chen's name was one of the very first that appeared on the list in the motion vis-à-vis what occurred. Now, I understand that the questions to do with the case at court, perhaps Ms. Chen is not as comfortable responding to them, but let me start with a straightforward question. Can you confirm that your name is indeed Ms. Lauren Chen, please, or Laura Chen? Which is it, please?
For the reasons already given, I have no comment.
Je vous demanderais.
Well, could you please indicate your citizenship? I understand that you're Canadian, but you live in the United States. Could you please confirm your citizenship?
For the reasons already given, I have no comment.
Je continuerai pas comme ça.
I won't continue in that vein for minutes at a time. I'll allow the witness one last opportunity to explain what occurred to before this investigation opened and the backdrop of all of this. If you could please explain what led to this US investigation against you, it would be highly appreciated.
As I have explained in my opening statement, at this time, I have no comment.
Monsieur le Président.
Well, Mr. Chairperson, in that case, I'll hand the floor back to you. Thank you.
Merci, Madame. We go now to Mr. McGregor for 6 minutes, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Ms. Chen, with Tenet Media, when you and your husband were operating the company, can you describe to the committee what kind of internal processes you had in terms of verifying the information that you received and published? Like, did you abide by any standard journalistic practices, code of ethics? Is that something that you can tell this committee about? Like, did you have an internal document that you used to guide your operations and those of your employees?
For the reasons already given, I have no comment.
Ms. Chen, did you have any internal processes with respect to the financial controls of your company? What kind of measures or protections did you have in place with, a chief financial officer, with legal counsel to verify that any funding you did receive or contracts for services, how did you internally verify that the people paying you were legitimate and did not have ulterior motives at play?
For the reasons already given, I have no comment.
Ms. Chen, are you aware that one of Russia's overarching objectives right now and for several years has been to sow discontent and distrust in Canadian society?
For the reasons already given, I have no comment.
Do you have any personal feelings that your company was aiding in objectives that were planned, plotted, and executed in the Kremlin?
For the reasons already given, I have no comment.
Ms. Chen, in your opening statement, you referenced the fears that you have with respect to being liable in United States criminal proceedings. Are you aware of parliamentary privilege and the protection that extends to witnesses who appear before a committee?
For the reasons already given, I have no comment.
Ms. Chen, are you aware that where you find yourself right now before a parliamentary committee of the House of Commons of the Parliament of Canada, are you aware of how serious this situation is for you right now?
For the reasons already given in my opening statement, at this time, I have no comment.
Ms. Chen, are you aware that this committee can take further actions and that you could perhaps find yourself before the bar of the House of Commons, not before a committee, but before the entire chamber itself? Are you aware that this could escalate for you if you remain uncooperative?
As I have explained in my opening statement, this time I have no comment.
Well, Mr. Chair, I think it's quite obvious that we have an uncooperative witness. For such an important subject matter, I think, Canadians can see the witness is committed to remaining obstructive and is not going to cooperate with this committee. I'll cede my time back to you, but I think this committee as a whole has to start considering next steps of referring this to the House of Commons.
Thank you, Mr. McGregor. We'll go now to Mr. Lloyd for 5 minutes. I'm sorry, Mr. Motz for 5 minutes.
Thank you very much, Chair. I will echo the comments of my colleagues around this table about not only the frustration, but the seriousness with which we are meeting today and discussing an issue that has impact on our democracy, and that the allegations that a Canadian would further foreign hostile state actors to destabilize our democracy is troubling, to say the very, very least. Now, further to some of my colleagues' questions, I have a couple for you as well, Ms. Chen. Your title, whether it's self-titled or not, is a social media influencer. Who or what do you actually and exactly influence?
For the reasons already given in my opening statement concerning the ongoing investigation in the United States, where Canadian parliamentary privilege does not apply, I have no comment at this time.
Ms. Chen, what factors influenced you to collude with the Russians?
For the reasons already given, I have no comment.
What was your end goal, Ms. Chen, to accept money from Russia in exchange for you sharing disinformation in a Canadian and American audience?
For the reasons already given, I have no comment at this time.
Do you believe that the goals of your handlers, Russian agents, do you think those goals were accomplished and what you're able to, the disinformation you're able to get out? Do you believe that you reached and influenced enough to change Canadians' perception on Ukraine and the conflict in general?
For the reasons already given, I have no comment at this time.
Well, Chair, it's obvious again that this witness, under a guise of self-protection, certainly is not concerned about the protection of Canada or Canadians. And I will cede my time back to the Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Motz. We'll go now to Ms. O'Connell for 5 minutes, please.
Thank you, Chair. Ms. Chen, were you aware of sanctions that, following up on Ms. Dancho's questions, are you aware of sanction regimes in Canada and the United States?
For the reasons already given, I have no comment.
Did you ever seek legal advice on sanction regimes and what penalties might be for accepting money from a sanctioned entity?
For the reasons already given, I have no comment.
On February 16th, 2022, you produced an op-ed in reference to a Russian war. However, the Russian invasion of Ukraine occurred on February 24th, 2022. Did you receive speaking notes or those lines to produce that op-ed in advance of a Russian invasion in Ukraine?
For the reasons already given, I have no comment.
How much money did you or your company receive from Russia or Russian agents?
For the reasons already given, I have no comment.
Were you aware that the money your company was receiving was from Russia or Russian agents?
For the reasons already given, I have no comment.
Mr. Chair, I find it interesting. I didn't know who Ms. Chen was in advance of the U.S. indictment. Some of these kind of conspiracy theorist peddling accounts tend to be a dime a dozen. The real interesting factor, though, is who's paying for some of this disinformation. The witness has actually attacked trans kids, 2S LGBT community, women, men who stand up for women's equality, she suggested, are on their periods and should eat a tub of ice cream. Doesn't seem to care about the ramifications of comments like this posted on the internet, attacking Ukrainians, Ukrainian sovereignty, and basically saying whatever she feels like without the consideration of implications to those people she attacks. I find it quite interesting that now, as she has an opportunity to defend some of these comments, perhaps it's the single lady's cat that's got her tongue, because she seems to be very opinionated when it comes to views that she wants to spew, but not how she's making money on spreading those views and getting those likes. So I think it is pretty interesting that those who believe in freedom until they face consequences for their own actions refuse to take responsibility for those actions and for not recognizing laws that exist in Canada and the US regarding sanctions. And that it's okay if an individual wants to make money off of, sanctioned entities, but then when it comes time to answer for those things, doesn't seem to not be able to find words to speak. I find it incredibly disappointing, but also not surprised, if I'm being completely honest. So I'll give you, Ms. Chen, one last question or one last opportunity. How much money did you or your company receive from the Russian government, a Russian entity, a Russian sanctioned entity, to promote and spread the materials that you spread online?
For the reasons already given, I have no comment.
Thank you, Chair. I'll cede my time back.
Thank you, Ms. O'Connell. On y va maintenant, Madame Michaud. Allez-y.
Ms. Michaud, the floor is yours. 2.5 minutes. Thank you, Mr. Chairperson. In light of the fact that the witness is refusing to answer our questions, I have no further questions myself to ask of her.
Merci. We go now to Mr. McGregor. 2.5 minutes, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. In light of the witness's continued refusal to answer questions of a House of Commons standing committee, I believe it's time for me to move a motion that would authorize you as our chair to refer this back to the House of Commons, clearly indicating that we have a witness that is in contempt. Being in contempt of Parliament means that she is willfully obstructing our work into a very serious matter. We've given her multiple opportunities to do so. She was warned of the consequences that this could be escalated. Given that committees by themselves can't take action, I do believe that this is a matter that needs to be referred back to the House, and we can ask the Speaker to take the appropriate actions with Ms. Chen's continued obstruction.
Right. Do you have the motion to move at this time?
I'm just coming up with it orally, but I would move that this committee authorize the chair.
Excuse me, the clerk is for sending a sample motion to the committee that you may consider. So we'll suspend briefly and consider that. We'll be back in 5 minutes. So I call this meeting back to order. Mr. McGregor, I believe you have a motion that you wish to move.
Yeah, just before I move that motion, Mr. Chair, I just want to give Mr. Erskine Smith a quick minute because he had a question that he wanted to ask the witness, and then he's agreed to send it back to me, and I will move the motion.
Fair enough. Mr. Erskine Smith, please. 1 minute.
Thanks very much. Ms. Chan, obviously you aren't answering questions here, so I'll start with a really easy one. Is Russia a foreign adversary to Canada in your view?
For the reasons already given at this time, I have no comment.
You've previously said, and I quote, "I don't believe in democracy." Is that still your view?
For the reasons already given, I have no comment.
My last question, your brand of politics tends to label pretty near everyone that opposes your views as traitors. So what would you call someone who accepts $10 million from a foreign adversary to run a covert propaganda operation on behalf of that foreign adversary? What would you call that person?
For the reasons already given, I have no comment.
Well, I will answer it then. You would call that person a traitor. The floor is yours.
Mr. McGregor, go ahead.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So in light of the fact that Ms. Chen has been uncooperative and refuses to answer questions of this Standing Committee of the House of Commons, I move the following motion: that the committee instruct the clerk and analysts to prepare a report to the House, which the chair shall table forthwith, outlining the potential breach of privilege concerning Laura Chen's refusal to answer questions of the committee.
Is there any debate? Seeing none, all in favor? Carried unanimously. Very well. I believe Ms. Demoff has a motion.
Thank you, Chair. I had previously given notice of motion on this study that the committee summon Liam Donovan and Lauren Southern to testify on their own for no less than 2 hours on their participation in Russian-backed interference and far-right disinformation campaigns intended to manipulate the Canadian public, and that they appear before Friday, November, I'm going to change that date, Chair. Sorry. Oh, no, Friday, November 29th, 2024.
Thank you. Any discussion on this motion? Ms. Dancho, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a comment that I think we can anticipate that there may be more of the same behavior from anyone else coming forward named by Ms. Damoff. So I would ask that in the event that happen, that perhaps we should have something that we can work on in addition, because if this committee is going to do this, if we wrap this up now, I don't know if we're going to, but again, this is the Public Safety National Security Committee of Canada. We've wasted now quite a while with someone who refuses to answer our questions. We have a number of studies that are on the verge of being complete, Mr. Chair, so I just ask that that we anticipate that more of this may occur, that we have a plan B so that we can get to work, that we're not wasting time.
Very well.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank
Any
you.
other discussion? Therefore, call a question. All in favor of Ms. Demoff's motion? Unanimously carried. Thank you very much. Ms. O'Connell.
Thank you. I would like to move a motion that the committee summon Mayor Patrick Brown to testify on their own for no less than 2 hours on the study of Indian interference, and that they appear before, sorry, let me just find a date, given that we have 2 studies on the go. I would say before December 10th, 2024.
Okay. Any discussion? Ms. Dancho.
I'm just unclear, was this motion provided with adequate notice? Just not germane to the Russia topic, it's the India one, is that correct, or am I misunderstanding that?
It's not. It's. But we do have an ongoing discussion. I guess, is it the will of the committee to entertain this motion at this time? Recorded vote, yes, go ahead.
Point of order, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Lloyd, on a point of order.
I believe it would require unanimous consent to move a motion that is, like, unless you declare that it's in order, Mr. Chair. But, I mean, this motion is not related to the study that we're studying today. And I just think that you would require unanimous consent to do that, because that's the proper way that this committee functions.
The clerk advises me that you're correct, that we do need unanimous consent for this.
And a recorded vote.
Okay. So we don't have unanimous consent. So I'll take that as notice of that motion.
Fair
and,
enough. Thank you.
Okay. Any further
Yeah,
business?
just a follow-up.
Ms. Dancho.
Am I to take that Mr. Brown has refused to attend, and that's why he needs to be summoned? Just not clear, we weren't informed of that.
He has refused to attend given meetings. I'm not sure whether that is whether there might be others, but this way once that motion is moved, if it passes, that will be another summons. So, okay, any further business before this House, or before this chamber, whatever we are?
Mr. Chair, yes.
Ms. Stanshaw.
I'm not sure if we're done with Ms. Chen, but we could probably release her and we can discuss a few other matters. But it's up to you. I would like to ask about the calendar and forthcoming meetings and the scheduling of it.
Is it the will of the committee to release Ms. Chen? Yes? Ms. Chen, you may withdraw if you wish. You will hear no doubt from the House in due course.
Yes. Thank you. I have a question about the upcoming meetings, Mr. Chair. May I ask it?
I'm sorry?
I have a question about the upcoming meetings. May I ask it?
So the next meeting is on Thursday, and we have meetings on Russia, I believe. And beyond that, after the break, after the consent break, we're still working on those.
Okay, may I just ask for your consideration? A few years back, we had quite a detailed calendar because we had so many things going on. I think it was helpful for planning and getting witnesses and understanding like what we could be bringing. If we have an extra hour, we can do the Bernardo study or the auto theft study. We've moved a few motions, the NDP, one about opioids, and ourselves about the violence experienced against women and children. Notably, of course, there was the murder in broad daylight of the mother of young children in an Ottawa park. So again, I think that there's a number of things, and I would appreciate, even a draft calendar for us to look at as we've done in the past. So if you could consider that, Mr. Chair, we would appreciate it. Thank you.
Ms. O'Connell, please.
Thank you, Chair. Given we've exhausted the committee business, I move we adjourn.
We have a motion to adjourn. All in favor? Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you.